The elders in the territory have referred to this area as the breathing lands of Mother Earth because of its significance and what it does for the world in sequestering large amounts of carbon and cooling Mother Earth, you could say.
Canada is home to massive stores of carbon. And while most of us think about it being stored in trees, the majority is actually found underground. A recent study by World Wildlife Fund Canada, led by scientists at McMaster University's Remote Sensing Lab, has measured for the first time how much carbon is stored in Canada's landscapes, and the results are astounding. Canada stores a massive 327 billion tons of carbon in its terrestrial ecosystems. And these large carbon storage areas are often found in Indigenous territories as a result of thousands of years of responsible management by Indigenous peoples.
We live in a very unique region of the world. The largest wetlands in North America, which houses the second largest carbon sink in the world. They say it's worth approximately $700 billion a year in services. That means, recharging aquifers, providing habitats for birds and animals, many species, water life. They say it's a very important bird staging area. Near 400 species of birds come to this region to have their young.
The Hudson and James Bay lowlands host a large diversity of wildlife, including wolverine, caribou, lynx, and even polar bears in its most northern region. High carbon landscapes play an important role in regulating the Earth's climate by removing carbon from the atmosphere and storing it in natural ecosystems. When this land is converted, degraded, or destroyed through human activities such as development, logging, and mining, it not only affects wildlife populations, but the stored carbon can also be released back into the atmosphere, further accelerating the climate crisis. The new research study reveals for the first time how much carbon is stored in Canada's landscapes and the locations of the most carbon-rich areas. In order to create these carbon maps, researchers collected soil samples from across the country. That, combined with long-term satellite data and topographic and climate variables, were fed into a machine learning algorithm.
So we have ground truth data, that soil storage measured on ground using field surveys. And on the other hand, we have especially continuous data from satellites. So we use a three-dimensional machine learning algorithm called a random forest. So we train the ground data against explanatory variables. So once we train, we have a model that is trained particularly for Canada, and we apply that model on the explanatory variables in order to extrapolate and produce carbon storage map for areas that have not been sampled.
In partnership with McMaster's University and WWF-Canada, we trained individuals from each community in the north to teach them how to collect samples. Mushkegowuk Council is, quite happy to be part of this project.
We have an excellent group, very experienced. They're all from James Bay area, all First Nation. So I think this project, it's historical. It's never been done. It's going to be exciting. And once the project is complete, the physical work of field sampling, our goal is to do a report of our findings, share it with the community. I think having a partnership with World Wildlife Fund and also McMaster University working on this project, they bring a lot of the scientific knowledge to us. We share our knowledge with them, and they share their expertise with us as well. I'm really happy to be part of it.
It's very good that we can engage the community so they know what we are doing there, that we are not planning go there damage the land, but it's the opposite. We want to show how important it is to preserve that land. For this reason, it's good that they are aware what we are doing and they are actually participating.
The environment is very important for anybody, I guess. Anybody who lives on the land in cities, enjoying nature. It's very important to keep it clean. Keep it polluting free as much as possible, even though there's a lot of prospecting, mining activities up north more than ever. Keep the watersheds clean. not only for First Nation, but, the world. It's very important.
We have this essentially a coring device, which is driven down into the ground to varying depths. And then we use that to extract basically a segment of the soil by taking that back to the lab and assessing the volume of carbon that's within it. That's the end goal here. And so the work that we're doing now is working through the steps of how can we actually carry out that field work, and bearing in mind this is going to be taking place. We might be in places like Gowanuk where we're doing the field sampling protocol and also having to contend with the possibility of polar bears or black bears or other wildlife. So it's really working through the protocol and making sure everybody understands the steps that go into it, and then also ensuring everybody has an eye for this sort of safety precautions as well.
I think what has been quite inspirational in this week's training is working with many different Indigenous communities and learning so much from them, yet we're the ones doing the training. So I think it's been a learning experience for everyone. It's been inspirational for sure.
We'd like to continue to train them, and so that they would always have that capacity in the region for them to continue collecting samples and monitoring year after year, and to monitor possible changes to the region, to highlight those changes and things like that, and how do we mitigate, how do we work to protect and conserve this region. We say that the Creator gave us everything that we needed to live healthy in a vibrant lifestyle. But we know that things are now changing. The environment can't speak for itself. We have to speak for it. And, that's the work that we're trying to do, because we believe that the environment has rights, because we are part of it. We are not superior to it. We are simply a part of that web of life.